guys, welcome to this series of video that Real Loco Marine and Marine Technical Training are preparing for you. This is the first episode of a series of episodes that Danny Rodriguez and me prepare in relation with the fabrication of the Pangas. This is Danny Rodriguez. You are familiarized with Danny. Danny participates in the majority of the courses and videos and books of our program. You remember in gasoline classes, in transmissions, in composite materials, in intro, in auxiliary systems, Danny is part of this wonderful program. Additionally, guys, this episode and this series is dedicated to the fabrication of the Panga. Remember that you can see the process in the book of marine composite materials. In that book, Danny explained the fabrication of the Panga in different chapters. In the video, we have chapter dedicated to the resinas, to the gel coats, to the lamination process, to the process to create the molds. And in that book, you learn the process step by step. But this episode is the first episode of a series of episodes that we want to create with the complete process to create the boat. And at the end, we are going to create the videos related with the wiring, the installation of the engine, the rigging, the installation of the power steering system. It's a complete process of the fabrication. And this is the first episode. I want that Danny explain in this episode what is the process and what is the content of this episode. But before of that, I want to know what is the history of this dream, because this is the dream of Danny, and why finally today we have the first episode dedicated to the fabrication of the plug to create the mold. Welcome, Danny. Welcome to this wonderful series of episodes.
How you doing, Alvaro? Hello, everybody. Everybody's doing good.
And what is the history, Danny, around the Panga?
Well, it's pretty funny, the story. I have a mutual friend that he was a dealer for the Panga boats, and he kind of turned me on to it. You know, the Pangas is just a different looking boat right off the get-go, and so kind of like I was interested in something different but practical and universal, and the Panga offers that. And basically the Pangas that I was selling back in the day was Panga.com. And we were selling boats for that company, and then I really liked the way it performed. The people really liked the way it is. The looks just is different, so it doesn't look like your traditional boat. But most of the people really gave me good reviews on the way it performed. And so then when the company went out of business, Panga.com, we ended up doing is Open Panga Sport. And then I was building these in 2006. I made some modifications to be completely a little bit different from the other brands. And then I got it up off online. And in 2008, when the economy crashed, we kind of like put everything in a dormant state. I didn't give up on it. I really liked the product and stuck to my guns. Now, basically, I have a partner in there, and I have a really good crew. Really good fiberglass guy who builds boats. He used to build boats for the Midnight Expresses back in the 80s.
Them.
Yeah, Carlito. You have Carlito. So I'll give you a little background. Carlito used to build Midnight Expresses back in the day in the 80s and the mid 90s. And then you have Robert. Robert's there. He's my partner in the Pangas, and used to run all over Marina. Everybody's well-rounded, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have Danny. You'll see Danny there. Danny is like the best electrician there.
Danny will be a critical part of the project.
Yes.
In the electrical part, in the power steering installation, in the engine installation. In those videos, we are going to talk a lot with Danny, and of course with Robert and Carlitos in the next coming episodes.
Correct. So then the Pangas now, we took the Panga. So you'll see in this video that you're looking at now, we actually took a Panga out of my old existing mold that I was doing in 2006 and used that to make a plug out of it. Okay.
Okay.
So in order for me to start with a clean slate, but yet not completely bare, because if I didn't have that, then I would have to build a wood structure as a boat and then make that as my plug. But since I built it before, I took the plug, they took the hull that came out of that mold, the old mold, and I made all the modifications that we wanted to do. And you'll see those on the videos through the steps. We put an integrated chime on the side, so when you go ripping around the corners, it's not going to slide out. I put integrated trim tabs, so that way it keeps the nose down, so you shouldn't have to use trim tabs. It's got the high gunnels, got built-in live well. Basically, it's like a 24-foot boat built into a 14-foot boat.
Okay. Okay, Danny, then what is the content of the episode today?
So the content on this episode is going to be that we're strengthening the plug that's in the old mold. We still have the boat that in the old mold, so we're making it strength and we're strengthening it up so it holds that form. So when we pop it out, which you'll see in the next couple of videos, we pop it out, we flip it upside down to make the modifications.
Wow. All right. The next coming episodes will be dedicated, probably 2 episodes dedicated only to the modifications on the plug, no?
Right. So I think the video you're going to see now will be the video us popping now once we reinforce the plug. Now we're going to pop that plug out of the old mold, the original mold.
Correct. Okay, great. I hope, guys, you enjoy this wonderful episode. Thank you.
So now we did this side, now we're doing the other side. This is going to be the first template. So we're making 4 sections, that's why we have it laid out. And pretty soon we're going to get started. But now we're using the prototype as a plug. So now he's measuring. So Robert took the measurement. Glue so we can put it on the other pieces of wood. See, that's the bottom part, and we're making the sides. It's almost like making ribs, so we can put this plywood in there to give it strength. So now we are making the plug for the hull. We have an old existing hull here that we're gonna make into a plug. So basically we are cleaning the acetone, cleaning the sides to make templates out of these. So once we make the templates, then we cut the plywood and insert them in there to keep the form of the bow, so when you take it out, it doesn't shrink back in. We'll see this, and this is the part 1 of the hull plug. So now we put it on the wood, and we're gonna get a marker and we're gonna draw it out. And in that way, when we cut the wood, it should fit right in these slots like the other way. So now that we made these templates, we're gonna cut out a plywood to insert it inside the hull to give structural support. So Robert is gonna end up cutting the first template out. And that's the first one. So that templates that we made, this is the first support. Now we're gonna do the other ones, and we'll show you the next video with them all in. So here's the part now that we have all the pieces cut. This again is to give structural support. And now Carlito's making, he's using 77, which is a paste. It'll act like cement, and we'll epoxy these in so they don't move. So now we'll show the next part will be once this cures a little bit, probably about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll start applying the fiberglass 3/4 ounce with resin to cover the boards. That'll be in the next video. So now we're not laminating the whole wood. I was wrong. We're cutting little strips, so when we glass these in, it's gonna look like this, and then the resin, so it secures it even more. Remember, the 77 is already hard. It's just holding in place so we can laminate it so it's really structurally sound. We're gonna put it on both sides of the wood, so you'll see it. You'll see that in the video now that's coming up. So now he's using the hardener, and he's mixing it with the resin. So now he's putting those pieces in. Like I said, this is without the resin. It's with the resin. So what this does is we have the hull in the whole mold, and what we're doing is because what happens is when they made this first hull, it shrunk. So we made these templates that you saw in the previous video. We made these boards to give structural support to keep it stiffened. So when we pull it out, you still have to see it more in the mold. Before it had no structural support, so now you'll have the structural support. The glassing was in.
So what are you doing now?
So basically, again, this is the structural support on the plug. It's just because what happens is the board that we had before, they put too much material and it shrunk. So we expanded to be fit on the mold on the outside. And so now by doing this, we're making it more structurally sound so that when we pop the hull out of the mold to make the plug out of it, to make a new mold, it will not shrink back in. It keeps it stiff.
Okay. Looks pretty stiff now.
Tomorrow, we'll start the next process. We're cutting these strips here. We marked them. They're cut strips like here. So let's show them, Robert, what we're doing. So we stiffened up the inside of the boat. It's stiff. So this is what it looks like it's done. Now we're going to stiffen up the outside so it doesn't go in. So we just want to show you what we're trying to do.
We're cutting them like this.
We're cutting it in strips so it'll flex, and we can make the form of the boat, and then we put 77 to secure it. Now this makes it structurally sound. Then we got to put one part over it. We'll see that in the next video. But right now we're just showing you that we're cutting these in pieces. Alright guys, so now we got these pieces on. We're gonna do the front, so we have the piece of wood and we cut slots, so that way it'll bend even more, like that. So we'll put the Bondo to hold it in place. Now we're setting up the flanges on the side, and we're getting ready to do the bow part. So you can see that we put in these little strips. We're gonna make a template So you can see all this here. We put these pieces, what you see in the previous videos. Now we put the piece out here. Now we're putting the piece inside here. What this does is so that way we can laminate from here to the wood outside and then make the flange. We have to laminate from here to here. If not, there's no structural support. This gives the support to the plug in order for the plug to be stable, that we can actually pop it out without tweaking anything. Because once we take it out, then we're going to fix all the imperfections, and the imperfections cannot be done until this part is secured, that the structure is completely secured. So now we're making a template out of those pieces of wood so we can get the curvature. So roughly we have a radius, so when we cut it, the piece of plywood, it'll have the same dimensions. So now we're taking the template out. So now we're going to cut the piece out. Alright, so we just cut the piece. Now we're going to put it in the boat to see if it fits. So now we're laminating these pieces in. These wood, we're laminating this in. Now what we're doing is all the gaps, remember the gaps that we had over here? See these gaps? We're gonna fill these gaps. What Galito's doing. So Galito's filling up all the gaps, because remember, we gotta laminate fiberglass from one side to the other, and you can't have those big gaps in there because it won't have the strength. This is kind of like a Bondo filler in order for us to fill up the gaps. Right now we're wetting the cardboard to put the pieces, to wrap the edges right here. So he's wetting the materials really good. This is 1708, this is heavy duty stuff. It's like biaxial almost. And what this does is really gives a lot of strength for the sides that we're going to encapsulate. So now we're going to roll these out. So we're rolling to get the airs out, air bubbles. So it keeps the integrity in it. All right, so now that we rolled it out, this is how it looks like. This bonds the top, like we said in the other videos, to the sides, and then we'll cut all the excess off. That way we can start making the flanges, but first we gotta let this dry so it bonds this wood with the wood on the outside, like on the previous videos. This is kind of what it looks like. We bond here to hold to secure the floor in the right height that we want. and all this extra material will be cut off once this all dries up. Ready to pull the mold off the plug that we're going to start making. It's the old mold. Now we're going to take this off and